everyone. Let's get this recording started here.
They answered their questions. Then they say, is there anything missing? And I blew their minds. It was 2011.
All right. Looks like we are live.
Fabulous.
Live and in Memorex.
We had a trip. And Cassie came out and stayed with me. I gave her a little bit of freedom.
Just give it a minute before we get started, since it's not the top of the hour yet.
So when Cassie's stepping out, she's like, oh,
If anybody has any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. I know that there were some questions in the Discord. I will get to all those.
I think we can hear Jen's conversation.
What are we listening to?
I think we're hearing Jen have a discussion with someone.
Yeah, let me mute her out. She probably doesn't know. I gotta find it. Jen, she's muted. All right. 'Tis Monday. Lots of interesting things going on in the crypto world, but it almost looks like nothing. If you sit there and stare at the flower bud all day long, it won't even look like it's trying to open up. But then you wake up the next morning and it's in full bloom. Sometimes that's how looking at the charts are. All right, let me represent Bitcoin and XRP today. All right, let's roll. We got a low audience level here today. What's going on? Maybe people are just waiting to the top of the hour before they tune in. Maybe they're just getting used to it taking a couple of minutes and they're tuning in 5 minutes late, but oh well, we're not going to wait. All right. Good morning. Good morning, Tommy. Good morning, David. Good morning and afternoon. And for everybody around the world, everybody can hear me okay? 9 o'clock. Nathaniel, 9 o'clock in the morning or in the evening?
Loud and clear, sir.
All right. So what we're looking at here is the 5-day Bitcoin chart. And the reason why it's on the 5 days is because of the Gaussian channel. That's the only day that really matters for that. And we are below the Gaussian channel and holding as resistance underneath. This is bearish. Now let's go look at the stochastic RSI down here on the weekly. That's somewhat bullish, but I mean, the blue line did cross over the orange line to the upside. Both of them are heading up, but they really need to get above this 20-day on the RSI, this 20 right here, not 20-day, 20, the number 20. And then in between the 20 and the 80 is this grayed out area. Once both of those lines get above the 20, then it's pretty bullish, as you can see, usually this back here. Now, sometimes they can both cross, both get above, and then boom, look what happened here. But the last time that happened, guys, was there was a 200-day consolidation from an all-time high here of 73.8. And we came from the top all the way down, and we hovered down here for a bit before we broke out and went to a new high. And that's kind of what's been happening.
The 5-day.
Say that again.
You're on the weekly instead of the 5-day for the Gaussian channel.
Yeah, I was on the 5-day already. I just switched to the weekly.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I switched to the weekly to show you the stochastic RSI. It's a little bit more accurate on the weekly. The Gaussian channel on the weekly, it's accurate, but not as accurate as the 5-day. But on the stochastic RSI down here, we want to look at the weekly because we got history going back here. As you can see, the last time after we hit an all-time high, before we broke out to a new all-time high, we consolidated down here underneath the 20 for a while. And then we finally popped up here, but it was still a lower high, We come back down, wicked all the way down and retested. On this one, we retested the 48K right there, which was previous resistance right here. Right there. We hit that and we bounced out, but here, down here, whenever we're below it, once we get above that, that's usually when there is the opportunity for a big pump to the upside. It happened here and it happened here. We did have a big pump to the upside. We pumped from 53,000 all the way up to 70K. That would be equivalent of us pumping up from, 90K all the way up to 110. So what we need to do is get above the 20 here. And we're on our way up, but there is 6 days and 7 hours left of the weekly. So we have all week to see what happens here. If we go down to a lower time frame, say the daily, we did flip the EMA ribbon, which is more accurate on the daily. We are bearish on that. We flipped it back here. We retested, making lower and lower lows and lower highs. But right now, it looks like we're starting to dig into it. We got into the first band and the second band and wicked up to the third band, and now we come back down and we're trying to retest it right now. Problem is this is also a big bear flag. So we have a bear flag, which is bearish. We flip the EMA ribbon on the daily, which is bearish. We're retesting it underneath as resistance, which is bearish. And we're also below the Gaussian channel on the 5-day, which is bearish, along with another giant bear flag. We do have the stochastic RSI seemingly on its way up on the weekly. It's not going straight up, but it did cross the orange line to the upside, and it is heading that way. Slowly but surely. And if we look at the 2-week, on the 2-week, we do have a blue line getting ready to cross the orange line on the stochastic RSI. That's bullish. It's positive. And if we go to the monthly, the monthly on the RSI is still kind of bearish. We do have lower highs and lower lows down here, but we're not going to worry about this right now because that can change depending on what the weekly does. But if the monthly goes down further, down to this level down here, I'll show you what that looks like. That's way down here at this level, way below the 20. That's especially after flipping the EMA ribbon, bouncing on it. That's considered bear market once we get below a certain level. On the monthly, see the monthly was coming down, bounced on the 20, and then went below it, and that's when we kind of fell into a bear market. The blue line is crossing that line right now. It's crossing that threshold. Could it come back up? Yes. If it doesn't, and it keeps going down, doesn't have far to go before it's at the 0 line. Right there, which is where this bounced on. I mean, it's really getting close there, guys. So what does that mean? That could mean that we are close to a bottom. That's what it could mean. But what would it take? I mean, look what happened here when it finally dropped below. It was a big drop. It was a big drop in price from like this range down to this range was like a 58% drop. So what would that look like now if that happened? I mean, that would bring us right down to the 30,000, 35,000 range. And then if we go up to the 2-month, on the 2-month, the blue line crossed the orange line to the downside, getting ready to drop below the 80. It's hitting it right now. That's bearish. So let's go to the 12-month. 12-month is, as we talked about before, guys, we got 23 days left of this candle. I'm going to get rid of the Gaussian channel, and then you'll see it's still red. this candle is red, and just for comparison, never in the history of Bitcoin yet, and keep in mind, it's only been 3 previous technically bull markets 3 times before. Has this candle been red? This is the equivalent of that candle right here. It was an all-time high, bull market top, then we go into a bear market. All-time high, this candle right here, bear market. All-time high, this candle right here, bear market. All-time high, this candle right here, historically has ended green. In order for it to end green, it needs to get above 94K. And it's 23 days left. 23 days and 7 hours. Which is December 31st at midnight. Once that next candle opens here on the 12-month time frame, whatever the top of this candle was historically has been the top of the bull market. But doesn't mean this time ain't different. I keep saying that. I got to say that, guys, because this time could be very different. This candle, this candle, this candle, this candle. These are all the 12-month. These are all the December or end of the bull market top after 3 years. So let me just look. It's this. We're in this candle right now. Followed by a bear market, which is usually a year, followed by 3 years to the upside, 1 year to the downside, 3 years to the upside, 1 year to the downside, 3 years to the upside. And this is the 3rd year, and we're at the end of it. December is the last month. So historically, so I got to say that because historically, that has always been the top. So what could change this time? Well, we got a lot of things changing. Obviously, we got central governments, flipping over to digital currency. We got, crypto-friendly presidents. We got all kinds of different laws being changed. We got banks and institutions all piling into ETFs by the billions. So this time is different, but why is the chart not looking much different? And there's a lot of experts, a lot of trading experts out there that would say that it doesn't matter what is going on in the world, doesn't matter what people say, the charts don't lie. But whenever the chart does finally do something it doesn't normally do, then they'll say, yeah, but this time is different. What most people are doing differently this time is they're saying this time is different before anything different changes on the charts. And that's risky business because that's predicting the future. And I can't do that. I don't have a crystal ball. So all I can do is look at the past and say, so far, this is what's always happened, but this time could be different. In fact, this candle could go down and then the next candle opens and this candle will be red instead of green. And the next candle could open and go up. It just hasn't before. So I just gotta make sure I make that clear because I don't want somebody to say, oh, Nico, you said that this candle was going to go up and be green because it's always, no, I didn't. I said so far, historically, it always has. There's one quote or one disclaimer in trading that you've probably heard over and over and over again, not only in trading, but almost every investment opportunity. And that is past results are not indicative of future results, right? So just because something happened in the past doesn't mean it's always going to happen. But at the same time, that's just a saying that people say to cover their asses because they really don't know what could happen. So that's that. So let's go down. Excuse me 1 second, guys. I got to open the garage door I got a worker here trying to fix a power outage, and then we got breakers tripping. We had a major storm last night. So give me.
Morning, folks. Zoom user says, I really enjoy these sessions. I'm just learning to trade. I can feel the newly formed synapses connecting in my brain. It feels so good. You're right, it does. You should change your name for us. Update your name to your real name, because I'm sure your parents didn't name you Zoom user. Hey, Matt, what's going on, brother? It's good to see everybody on the call. Go ahead.
With billions institutional and ETF investment into Bitcoin and XRP, and we're still seeing price stagnant and actually continuing to drop and downward trending. Do we just have huge whales suppressing it with short positions? Is that essentially what's happening?
I mean, a lot of it is manipulation. They can just roll the prices down and buy more at lower prices.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that there is quite a bit of that happens. You know, they turn and buy and sell and buy and sell, and they drive the price up and down wherever they want it to go. But I mean, if you look at the chart, it's pretty bearish. You know, and markets run in cycles, even with institutional investors. Markets run in cycles, even with all the money that's in the stock market. It runs in cycles. So everything runs on cycles. We have to just get used to the idea that there's not always going to be green days and that some days they're going to be red days, and learn to play both directions. I need to get better at
Regardless.
shorts. Nico's
Yeah.
back.
I'm back. Yep.
Thanks, Bill.
Yep.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. So yeah, that's what we do is we try to analyze the charts and try to figure out which direction it's going to go. And sometimes we're right, sometimes we're not. But that's why we look at key indicators, key market indicators, and timing, what time of the market it is, you know, what's going on in the world. Fundamentals are important, but you know, technical analysis is really usually wins out. There are some fundamentalists out there that think fundamentals are all that matter, but and if you're a long-term player, like let's say Warren Buffett, where you know Warren Buffett went liquid $200 billion like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. He's sitting on the biggest reserve of cash ever. Why? Because he knows something's coming and he's going to buy up at the bottom. He's expecting a crash. But he doesn't care about the daily ups and downs. He's planning for much bigger moves in the market. You can do that too. You don't have to day trade. You don't have to swing trade. You can simply wait for the bear market bottom and wait for the RSI to turn upwards from a downward trending lower highs. And I'll show you what that looks like. Let's just switch this from the stochastic RSI to the regular RSI. I mean, if all you wanted to do is this, you go to the weekly time frame, you put the regular RSI on down here. And you wait for, we have high, a lower high, right? And you bring that all the way down to the floor. This is not the floor. This is not the floor. Show you where the floor is. The floor is like right about here. Here, it's the 45 approximately, the 43, 45. And you just bring that all the way up. So let's just look at history here. Bull market top up here in the green. Bull market top up here in the green. Bull market top up here in the green. Now, you might say, well, that's not the top. That's only 73. That was 73.8 right there. But that was as high as we ever got on the RSI. And we went a little higher to 108, 109. We went a little higher to 123, then 124, then 126. So we were making higher highs, but we were making lower lows on the RSI. That's called bearish divergence. We did that. Bitcoin's only done that a couple times in its history. And the most recent one was the last bull market. So let's look at this one. Here's the high of the RSI. And then we have a lower high. Here's the high, 38K right here, 40K, 42K, something like that. And then a higher high right here at 60, whatever it was, 64K. But a high and a lower high. And then it came down to, 28, 29K, and then came all the way back up. Look at that little peak right there. And look at the dotted line going down. Another lower high. And then it went up to an all-time high, 68K. But look at this, a lower high. And then it fell back down to 33 and came back up for another attempt and went up to 47. But look down below. That was a lower high. Then it went to the bear market all the way down to 17, 18K. And that dropped all the way down to here below this zone, bear market, and then bear market bottom. It broke out. So this breakout of this downward trending resistance right here, that was this pump from the bottom here at 17K. It pumped out, broke out, and then came down to retest. That's this right here. If you look closely, you can see right here. It broke out and then retested as support. What was resistance, resistance, resistance with lower highs became support, beginning of the next bull market. So if you want to just wait for things like that to happen, you can pretty much call the bottom or close to it. Because look at that. That was the actual bottom. And here's the interesting thing. It's happening again right now. The only difference here is we had more higher highs. This one only had 1, 2, 3. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But look what's happening down here. Even the most recent high, the all-time high, 126, was a lower high. And then it fell below the floor. And look, it's trying to come back up and retest the floor, but it's low. It's below the floor, guys. That's usually the beginning of bear market. The reason why I haven't called a bear market yet or said that this is a bear market is because of all the other things that are going on in the world that could cause a immediate abrupt, upswing. But I would say that if we get, I think I said 73, 74, if we get a little lower, guys, and we get down into the 70s, and then I would say 70K is the magic number. But if we get below 73.8 or 74.5, which is this low right here, then yeah, I think that's pretty much bear market. Thing. So yeah, and a lot of people don't like to believe what they're seeing on the charts. They're like, yeah, but that's just that doesn't mean that this time is, yeah, you're right. It doesn't mean that this time it's going to do the same thing, guys. But this is really all we have to look at is what happened in history, the patterns going back. And this has happened before, but this is the most recent time it happened. And I can't go back far enough to show you where it happened. Well, maybe I can. Let me go back. There you go. There it is. That wasn't it. Hold on. I don't think I can go back far enough. But the bottom line is, you see all the green here? That's overbought territory. And that doesn't, by the way, how often does that happen? I don't know. This is 2011. This is 2013, 2013. Then it's 2017, 2017, then 2020. And then 2024. So what, every 4 years? Coincidentally, stop of bull markets. So the fact that we're below this right now, which was the floor, and we're below the yellow line, which is the moving average, and it's just very bearish right now. And it should be obvious just on the price. I mean, we're at 89K right now as we speak from 126. $37,000.
Shouldn't we be shorting the market then?
You would think, right? I mean, if you would have shorted it from up here, you'd be way up, right? But there's been a lot of little weird things that have happened that would lead people to believe that, oh, we're going to have another spike to the upside. Oh, we're going to have another parabolic move to the upside. And then one of the reasons is because December, well, let me go back to the 12-month time frame. December normally has a 30, going from November to December usually has a 40% pump to the upside historically. So all of these big wicks that you see on these previous bull markets, that was at the last month. These were all the last month pumps. And so here we are in this red candle. We did already have a big pump. We did already have a big spike up to 126. And then we come all the way back down to here. So we got 23 days and seven hours left before I would normally call a bear market. But by then, the price could be a lot lower, yes. But I'm going to say that if it gets below 75, then that's pretty much a wrap. But that doesn't mean, but there's another way to look at this. As long as we stay above 70, 75, then the bull market is still technically active, which means we could still have another move in January. But it just hasn't happened, guys. Well, let me put it this way. That's not true. I shouldn't say that. Let's go look. let's just say that this candle comes down, 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 and the 23 days and 7 hours is up, and the next candle opens January 1st. January 1st, this next candle opens right here. And it goes up. And then comes down. Turns red. It can go up, but historically it never went up. It never goes up higher than this candle. So let's go and look. This was the candle. This was the high candle. The next candle opened and it did go up a little bit. You see that little wick? It did go up a little bit, but then it came back down. This candle went all the way up to all-time high, came all the way down here, opened the next candle, and this candle went up in January. It went up, but it didn't get higher than that one. This candle went all the way up to here, came all the way back down to here. Bear market started. This candle opened, and it literally went up first before it come down. But it didn't get higher than this one. So what I've been saying is that this candle usually represents the top. Whatever the high was of this candle historically has been the top every 4 years, but it doesn't mean this time is going to be the same. It just means that historically that's what's always happened. So I know a lot of people want predictions and they want exact what's going to happen. I can't give you that. That requires a crystal ball. All I can do is look at all the different charts and indicators in history and say, based on everything, this is what's likely to happen. But now you could just think that this is the top and short it now. But what if it bounces on 70 and then climbs up to before the end of the year? Like, let's just say over the next couple of weeks, it drops all the way to 70K and then bounces and pumps all the way up to 140. That can happen in a 3-week period. That has happened in a 3-week period. All I got to do is go back and show you all of these bull market pumps at the last minute. November, this is November, December. I mean, in the last 3 weeks, boom. I'm on the weekly chart right now. Each one of these candles is a week. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Look at that. And if I count this one, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, we went down huge first. We've dropped all the way down to here first before pumping up like a huge amount at the last minute. Same here. This is November. This is October going into November. November, boom, boom. December, boom. But did we already have that is the question. So let's look. No, not really. This is the only time I've seen so far where we got October, November. Now December is starting to turn green, but is it going to be a higher high green?
Well, technically, we've been in a bear market since the summertime because we've been going down, right? So it's kind of a weird, maybe bear market, right?
I mean, if it turns into a bear market and goes below this line, you could say, yeah, well, it's been dropping since 126. You can say that, but
Yeah.
but there are some upward trending support lines that it would have to literally get through,
Mhm.
and it is. It's technically through them. Like, it depends on where you put this line, but if I put this here at the bear market bottom
Mhm.
and touch all of this, generally it's these two lines right here, boom and boom. Then we already fell through the upward trending support and we flipped the EMA. This is the EMA. We stay above it, we're in bullish. Even when we dip down to the bottom of it, we come back up. Dip down to the bottom, come back up. We didn't dip down to the bottom up, come back up. We went through it. We're below it and below this upward trending support. So this would have been a great short right here at 108, 109. Technically speaking, that would have been, even if you would have shorted here at 108, 109, even if you shorted here at 108, 109 rather, or 112, it would have went up a little higher and then bear market. But I don't know if this is bear market yet because it's above the 70. It's above the 73.8. So, however, things are kind of leaning in that direction, but we could have a huge surprise here in December. That's why officially I won't give my opinion until January 1st, like wherever, because if between now and January 1st, this comes up Let's say the price starts to climb. Bitcoin gets some new wind. XRP, everything starts to pump in the last 3 weeks of the year, and we get above the EMA, and we get all the way up to 104, 105. That still might be a good time to short, but if it comes January 1st and we're not a higher high at that point, then what we'll probably have will look more like a triple top or a head and shoulders. And then I will be calling that personally for myself. It would need to do that. And that's what happened last time. So let's go back and look. We had a 64.5, we had a little bit higher 68, and we had another attempt here. We came all the way down and then tried. Look at this. It was below the EMA. It was holding underneath, just like right now, and it pumped above it, but it did not make a higher high. This was a major head and shoulders. And boom, it dropped out of that. And so if that happens again here, the drop out of it part has to be kind of down here where the 74K is, somewhere in that zone. So this could certainly happen. And that's what I'm looking for before I really think that we're bear market, because we still could have another run up. Even if it doesn't make a new all-time high, we could certainly run up to retest this upward trending line right somewhere up here, somewhere in the 110, 115 range, even right here, equal to that 108. Or it could be lower. It doesn't have to be as high as the left side. Like this one, it was a lot lower. But it's hard, guys. It's hard to call it. I mean, you don't have to call tops and bottoms to be successful doing this, but to know exactly when a top is or not is difficult. And so that's why I look at the 12-month and I look at consistency in the charts. So what's happened every time during this time of year. And I try to take all that into account, but then I look at the EMA, I look at the RSI, and we're below the floor. We broke below the upward trending support. We're below the EMA ribbon. There's a lot of things that are staring us right in the eye. We could be in denial all we want. Oh yeah, but this time is different. Okay. Is it? Where's all the buying pressure? Supposedly Michael Saylor bought another $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Where is it? Why the price only went up?
His average price is up to 74,696 now. So when I first did my breakdown, I thought that if we held it around 20 grand for a while, it would hurt him. But he's bought so much at such higher prices. I don't know how, I'm going to redo it. I'm going to try and refigure out where he'd be in real trouble. But $74,000 average price. I mean, that's right that's right where it could go. You just said.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. What he needs to worry about is being delisted from the stock market, because regardless of whether that hurts him or not, the perception of it hurts Bitcoin. And that would ultimately hurt him because people would be scared. And
right. BitConnect. It'd be another BitConnect. What an opportunity that would be.
Oh my God. Then guys, people are like, yeah, well, why is BlackRock and all of these big hedge funds selling their Bitcoin? They're selling it by the billions because they're not in it for the long term. They're in it for the profit. They are running hedge funds, and hedge funds have to answer to stockholders and have to answer to investors. And if you bought an ETF back here when the ETFs went live, right here for Bitcoin, right here at 73.8, that's when the ETFs went live, and you capitalized on all of this gain, you need to sell it to take profit. And what do they do once they take that billions of dollars out of Bitcoin? They still have Bitcoin. They just sold off. They just took their profit. Then they roll that into XRP ETFs. They roll that into the next project. XRP has its big pump. Bitcoin goes into a little bit of hibernation. It's called losing dominance. It's called altcoin season. And then the XRP ETFs take off. And by the way, look at when they announced these ETFs for Bitcoin, it took 280 days for that to break out to a new high. So don't think just because, there's XRP ETFs now and the price isn't doing shit. That's because it takes time for the billions, and billions and billions that are going to roll into it to actually affect the actual retail price. But it's happening. So let's go look at XRP right now while we're at it.
Nico, Does XRP or Ethereum also have these kind of 4-year cycles, or this is more specific to Bitcoin?
No, it's kind of crypto in general. I mean, Bitcoin is the tide that rises all boats, so to speak. So they've been correlating. You know, somebody said earlier that, you know, in our chat that JD said, "Hey, is it me or does XRP seem to not be following Bitcoin anymore? I don't see the cup and handle like BTC has going on." It just depends on what time frame you're looking at. So this is XRP on the daily, downward trending channel, bouncing on the floor, and this is Bitcoin on the daily, downward trending channel, bouncing on the upward trending support. Very similar to me. So to me, they're still correlating on the higher time frames, but if you look at the really lower time frames, it may not look like it. So this is if I put this upward trending support line at the very bottom of most of the bottoms, which is the bear market bottom here, all of these support levels here we did hold the support and we fell through and came back above it and then held the support again. And here was support, and here was support, and here was support. If I put this line there and I ignore this big drop here, then we're still coming down to this line. We hit it a little bit right here. We wicked down to it right there. Boom. And hit it when we came down to 80,500. So that leads me to believe that this is an accurate line because it wicked right to it. Boom. And what has happened so far in history, every time it's done that, it pumped to a new high, pumped to a new high, pumped to a new high, pumped to a new high. So is this going to pump to a new high? So these are the things that it's hard for me to call a top yet or a bottom or a bear market yet because we still could bounce here to a new high. But this zone right here from 68K to 73.8 right here, 68K was the previous all-time high. And then the top of this was 73.8 before we broke out and we came down and retested. This zone right here, to me, it has to get below that for us to be in a bear market. Now, if it gets below that, we're going to say, shit, man, we could have been shorting from 126. Yeah, you could have. And we have. We've shorted many times during this time on the way down. But, you know, sometimes when we hit support like this one, we just go. It's easy to see on a daily when you're zoomed out and after the fact, right? But when we had this big drop on the 10th, all the way down to this, right to here, and then it pumped all the way back up to here, basically it was saying, it was like, oh, it's staying above the 112. Interesting. This was major resistance, support, dip through, came back above, dip below, came back above and held. So this is when we get out of our shorts and we're like, oh shit. I think it might be bouncing back up, and then it drops below and then it comes back up again. And then we're looking at the downward trending resistance, which by the way, none of this existed back then. So let's just take this up and look at what it would have looked like had none of this happened yet. All we can do is take a line from the top and draw it to the next lower high. And then it came down and then it came back up again. We just keep connecting these high, lower high, lower high. Oh, again, lower high. But every time it dropped, and I always say short the tops, don't long the bottoms. So whenever you're in a downward trending channel, you short the top, short the top, short the top, short the top. Now, there does come a time when you can't do that anymore. It's like musical chairs. The music does stop eventually and we break out. So if I shorted the top right here, which I did, I'm not in it anymore because I got taken out, but because history is showing me. But then again, we bounced on the floor right here. So what is the likelihood of us bouncing on the floor again? Well, it's high because we usually have a double bottom. Look, guys, if I could just teach you one thing, pay attention right now. If you never learn anything else from me, whenever we have a double top, the odds are it's going to drop. Whenever we have a double bottom, the odds are it's going to pop. So whenever you see
on a
double
daily or
tops Double tops, you short. Whenever you see double bottoms, you long. Even though you could be wrong, because 30% of the time it's not going to work that way. 80% of the time it will. 20% of the time it won't. 80% of the time it will. Double tops, short. Double bottoms, long. Is this a double bottom right here? We hit this floor and we did come down all the way to here. Is that considered a double bottom? It's close. I mean, it's a long wick to the downside, which is usually bullish. We did pump up after that, but we did not break. Not enough buying pressure to break out of the downward trending resistance yet. So we're still winding into a little apex here. This is a wedge. It's an apex. I'm going to change the color just so you see that this is the actual box that we're in. These two yellow lines. And what it does here is kind of important. So let me get rid of that. And you can do the same thing on XRP. We're basically in this little box and we are winding into the apex. There's no room left. The breakout is imminent. Imminent. In fact, let me move this line right here and move this line right here. It's actually tighter than I thought. Breakout imminent. Any moment on BTC. Now, if it breaks to the downside, I am not going to short because I'm expecting a double bottom. First one, second one, and then out. If it breaks below this line and holds as resistance, I will then think, okay, this is it. We're going down much lower, and we possibly will get to the bottom of this little channel down here. We do need to get below that for real bear market territory, but that would tell me that we are at least going to come down and retest these 70s. These low 70s. But I need to see it break below this orange line first. And then I would believe that. But in the meantime, I mean, a falling wedge from this high and bouncing on major support. If we double bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of that orange line right there and put it right there and bring this down here. And then that will be the new apex. Basically, if this falls below that line I just had, and comes all the way down here, this is where we're waiting for the breakout. It's either going to pop or pop. Pop or drop, I mean. So I would recommend you drawing your lines very similarly. You don't need all this other stuff. This is just me charting on the way up. But as you can see, every time we hit a top and consolidated to this line, we broke out to a new high. Hit a top, consolidated and a falling wedge down to this line, we break out. Hit a top, we consolidate down to this line, we break out. Well, so far, I mean, it's not going to always continue to break out to the upside. This might be that might have been it, but we won't know until it breaks below that line. So that's Bitcoin. If we look at XRP, falling wedge, very similarly, up against the floor, very similarly, coming into a tight wedge. Very similarly, I would say that breakout is imminent as well. It needs to break to the upside. But if it breaks to the downside, how far does it have to go? Bitcoin could break. Let me just go back and show you real quick. If Bitcoin does this, because they are still correlating a little bit. If Bitcoin does this and breaks this little wedge that it's in right now. I'll just take that line from here to here. Let's just put it like that. And drops down to this line. That is a price drop of 89,000 down to about 82. Then if that happens, XRP will break this upward trend line and probably drop down to, I mean, it's not going to go lower than the bottom of this, I don't think. Even if Bitcoin does that, XRP tends to correlate, but it doesn't correlate as tightly. In other words, it doesn't fall as much as Bitcoin does. So here's the floor for XRP. I would say $1.77. It might bounce on if that happens. But I think they're both due for a break to the upside. And you will know when XRP is no longer correlating with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will look like it's not moving and XRP will finally be climbing out on its own.
Hey, Nico, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what are you thinking time frame wise for a breakout or to the upside or bottom, like next week or so? Because you're in the daily there time frame,
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, all you got to do is hold your mouse to where the current price is and just go all the way to the corner of
maybe
the
even
edge.
longer than a week. Okay.
So that's about the 24th of December. That's like 20 more, 15 more days or so, 2 weeks. But it doesn't usually go to the edge of an apex. It
True.
usually
Okay.
breaks out 70% of the way there. So probably sometime over the next week or this week, by the end of this.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and not only that, but any time between now and then. So when I say the breakout is imminent on Bitcoin, it means any time now it can, but it can also go. If I go to Bitcoin, it's different. Bitcoin is up against the edge of both the floor and the ceiling. Look at that. Here's the upward trending support, and here's the ceiling. It's in the wedge. It's in there right now. So to me, a breakout is imminent. Now, if it breaks to the upside, it may not even be a big explosion. It might just continue to look kind of iffy and go sideways like this in very small little motions. And that will look like a continuation of this little channel, but it is still a breakout. It is still a trend reversal. This is the trend coming down. This would be the new one going this way. And that's still a breakout to the upside, but that doesn't mean it holds enough buying pressure for it to break out. It could come over this way and then still fall to the ground because there's just not enough buying pressure. But a lot of times when we see a wedge like this coming into an apex, the breakout usually is kind of big. It's usually a big green candle up.
Hey Nico,
Like
I was just gonna
this.
say,
Like this right
over the
here, guys.
weekend. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold on one second. Let me just show you this real quick. This is very similar where we had this upward trend in this falling wedge, and we had what appeared to be some support up right around here, somewhere in this area right here, and it broke out, but look, it still stayed tight until it finally popped. I'm sorry, go ahead. Who was talking?
Oh, it's me, Keith. Over the weekend, I was listening to Tom Lee. If you've ever seen him on Wall Street, he's pretty crypto savvy. He was thinking that this is going to be a different cycle for Bitcoin. But something else I was listening to, pretty big real estate mogul. If these other real estate moguls start doing what they're doing, is tokenizing their deals. So, for instance, they're looking at buying a $180 million property, and I think it's Fort Lauderdale, and I think it's 135 million. They're putting 50 million into Bitcoin and as a hedge, and even holding that, you get the tax write-off for the property, but they also say even 5 years from now, they said, the property would be worth this based on increased rents and everything else. It's a couple hundred unit building, and they buy a lot of properties. So if other people, say Wall Street and other people, BlackRock and things, start doing this thing where they're tokenizing, putting Bitcoin and things, it could be a big game changer when you start buying billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin in order to hedge their bet and change the whole scale of things.
Yeah.
Just an FYI, I thought I'd mention.
Oh, yeah. And we do talk about that a lot. I mean, Michael Saylor has been preaching from the rooftops, trying to get other companies to do that. And I think Cardone Capital's doing it now. They're starting to do it. But are they late to the game is the question. I mean, it's kind of like one of those things that if everyone just did it, Bitcoin would go to the moon. But why aren't they doing it? What is the hesitancy? Why is the price, even with Michael Saylor buying billions and doing that exact same thing you're talking about, the price is still kind of stagnant. It's not really pumping higher. It's not doing much. And he's kind of like a one-man show propping up Bitcoin with billions of dollars with purchases. The retail market is not really buying at the quantity he's buying. So it does take him to educate all these other corporations and CEOs and all these big companies to do the same thing. And they are coming on. They are starting to do it. There are a lot of people doing what you're talking about, and they're starting to do it. But but yeah, I guess my concern or my problem with it is that even with that being happening, you might say, well, yeah, but why isn't it going up? Why? But it has really. I mean, Bitcoin did 8x in this bull market cycle. So I mean, it was 15.5, in 2023, and so went up 800% since then. The next bull market cycle, if it does that again, let's just say we do come down to 60K in this bull market. I'm not sure what the bear market bottom would be, but let's just say it does, and it comes down to like 60 or 50K. And we only 800x. I mean, 800%. We only 8x again in the next one. 8x from 50K is a big difference between 8x from 15K.
Now, could it be because sometimes you got companies like BlackRock who recently, like was it, I think maybe like 3 or 4 days ago, they dumped about 2 billion worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But they were collecting profit though. They didn't dump it, just dump it. They were actually getting their profit.
Right. They're strategic about it. Like they're not going to sit and hold during all the ups and downs because they have people that invested in ETFs. And I don't know if you guys know what the deal is with the ETF, but you get when you're an investor in an ETF, you get the benefit of the gains, but you don't risk the downturn because they don't allow it to go down. They sell at profit. They have to look out for the investors. Imagine if you bought into an ETF and Bitcoin goes up, 50% by the end of the year, and then you're sitting there in your ETF, and then Bitcoin goes all the way down in a bear market, all the way down to 30K, and now you're negative from your initial investment into the ETF. So the ETF, the hedge funds don't allow that to happen. They have to. They have a fiduciary responsibility of your money. This is why I don't trade other people's money, because you need to be able to know when to get out. I mean, what are you doing this for in the first place, if not profit, right? Now, some people say, yeah, but Nico, I thought you said never sell the Bitcoin, never sell the XRP, and then borrow against it. Yes, but that's a different model. That's what you should do as an individual. All these people that have money in the ETFs, they are not custodians of their own crypto. They're trusting BlackRock. They're trusting Grayscale. They're trusting these ETFs. I mean, these hedge funds to do it for them. And so the hedge funds are the custodians, and they're responsible for the money of the investors. And they have to do the right thing for the investor. They have to take the profit. Now, you might say, well, shit, then I'm going to go put my money in ETF. Well, that's not a good idea in my opinion either, because that you put your money in the ETF and you're maybe guaranteed a certain percentage gain on a certain amount, or you're guaranteed not a loss, but your gain is, small in comparison to the gain of the ETF or the fund manager. And not only that, but they charge you fees for doing all that for you. Why? Because you're either not too lazy, but you just don't want to learn how to custodiate yourself. You don't want to deal with your own wallets. You don't want to buy your own Bitcoin and move it into a cold storage wallet. You don't want to be in total control of your money. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people like that. They don't want to deal with all that. They want to trust the professionals, the money managers, right? And so I don't trust those money managers. I don't trust any of those people. They're now, again, you will make a return. Put your money in the S&P 500 year over year over year. You're gonna average 10% per year. Okay, is that good? No, not when you consider that inflation is 8 to 10% per year. So really, you're just breaking even. Now, is it better than not having your money in the S&P? Yes, better than not investing in anything. But can you do much better if you just learn a few things on your own? Yes. Like if you would have just bought one Bitcoin at the end of 2022, I mean, you would have 8x your money. If you would have taken that same 15K and put it into an ETF, if there was such a thing, then you would have made like 12% per year or something like that. And so you might say, well, that's good, 12% per year. I don't know. Let's do the math. 12% times 4 years. Let's just say 4 years. That's 48% on your money instead of 800% custodian it yourself. So I like to be in control of myself. Now, with control of for yourself, there's more risk. You have to be in control. You have to know when to get in and when to get out. And that's what some people just don't trust. They don't trust themselves. And so that's why you're in a group like this, to kind of get some knowledge and education on when is the best time to get in and get out. We do day trading, we do give signals and all that stuff in here, but some of you would be far better off waiting for a bull market top or a bear market bottom before entering. And it might just be good for your personality type too. Your character, not your character, but your personality, because some people are busy working, running businesses, going to jobs, dealing with families, kids, and all that stuff, and they don't have the time to learn a lot or become a professional trader. So they just want, when did I get in? When should I get in? When should I get out? They just want that, right? But if you just learn the basics and let's say you just were like that and you just got in at the bear market bottoms, and whenever the 4-year cycle is over, you just converted that into some other crypto. You got in, you converted, you got in, you converted. Now, if you just did that alone, or you just bought down here, you bought down here, you get all this gain up here, 80%, and then it goes to the bear market. And then let's say you just hold it and you don't sell it, you don't ever sell it. And you're going to decide to ride the roller coaster. But if you buy here, and buy on all those big bear market bottoms, you're still going to be way up in the future. But that's a long, slow process, right? And because you're waiting years for these big bottoms. So, or you can do all of those things. You could day trade, swing trade, scalp, make money, hodl. You can, and I do all that. I do hodling. I have a hodling account. I also do long-term swing trades, and I also do short-term scalps. I'm kind of just, there's no reason to let a $1,000, $2,000 opportunity slip away just because you don't want to swing trade, because it takes you 5 seconds to push a button when you know what you're doing. It's like, to me, it's foolish. Now, it's like the old saying, if Bill Gates was walking down the road and there was a $100 bill on the sidewalk, would it be worth his time to bend over and pick it up? And just because it wouldn't be, because the time it takes for him to bend over and pick it up, he literally lost $10,000 because he's worth $10,000 per second, his time. So all the time it took for him just to bend over, which could have been a total of 20 seconds, was not worth it. But doesn't mean he wouldn't do it anyway. Standing around having a conversation with somebody doesn't mean he wouldn't bend over and pick up that $100. It almost seems stupid not to, right? But financially speaking, his time is more valuable than that. So it's all perspective. It all just depends on what your viewpoint is and where you're coming from. And what it is you're trying to accomplish. So I think we're all trying to accomplish the same. We're all trying to get rich and make a lot of money and do all the right things and enter at the right spots and get out at the right spots and all that stuff. But it's hard for me in my position, or Chad, for us to predict anything because we don't have a crystal ball. So what we do is we do what's called technical analysis, and we understand where support and resistance is. We understand where the long-term trend lines are, and we understand where the breaks are and the liquidity is, and market cycles, and what the indicators are telling us. There are some good indicators that are telling us certain things. And so then we kind of weigh all that out and say, what's more likely to happen based on all this? If 3 of the indicators are saying bullish and 2 are saying bearish, are we going to listen to the 3 or the 2? But if all 5 are saying bearish, it's very difficult to ignore that. You almost have to go with that, even if it's possible for them to all reverse and be wrong. So we have to go by what's the most likely thing to happen, not necessarily the thing that's going to happen, because we really don't know. But what's the most likely thing? So, whenever you guys ask, hey, well, I know this is a crystal ball question, but when is this going to happen? It still is a crystal ball question. I'd like to know myself. But at the same time, there's some obvious things right here on the chart. Let's just look at this on the daily. We have this orange line, upward trending support. And below that, we have the major support and resistance of 68 to 70K, which just goes all the way back to the previous bull market top. In fact, I'll just take this and just move this all the way out to here. And so resistance, 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 breakthrough, support. Are we coming down to this, or are we going to be staying above this upward trending orange line and bouncing out of this downward trending falling wedge? Well, if I look at the falling wedges, this last one, we broke to the upside. This one, we broke to the upside. As long as we stay above this orange line. So since we're so close, guys, so close to the apex here, there's not much to go. It's either it's gonna wind in here on this orange line, double bottom and break out to the upside, or it's gonna break to the downside. So I think the best bet is to wait for that to happen. Now, could you be getting into other trades on other charts and other coins that are doing something different? Yes, you could be practicing otherwise. But it's like if you're just anxious to trade and you want to accumulate Bitcoin or make a big move on XRP, me personally, I'd be sitting and waiting for that to break out. Now, if we go look at XRP, the difference with XRP is that I think that when XRP does have a breakout to the upside, it's going to be a fast climb up like this, like this, and it pumps up. Long, slow drops to the downside, fast pumps to the upside. But we still have a little ways to go here because we're in this downward trending channel, and it is winding. It's winding, it's tapering. This could be looked at as a little apex inside of the downward trend. And I mean, we could have a breakout any minute and hopefully to the upside. But that's another wait and see as well. In the meantime, I am long on one of my swing trade accounts on XRP just because I don't want to wake up one morning and it's $5. And it happened that quick. I'd rather be in a long, now I'd rather be in a long position and run the risk of getting stopped out on that trade and get back in and get stopped out and get back in and get stopped out and get back in and get stopped out waiting for that ballistic move. But if you can't stomach that, then you wait for the breakout. I don't mind doing that because I don't risk it all. I don't risk a lot when I'm doing that anyway. I have the majority of my XRP in a holding account and a cold storage wallet. I'm not trading with it. I'm not risking it. I'm waiting for price appreciation. But I do have XRP in my Phemex wallet where I do trade on leverage. I'm in a coin M long right now with only 5x leverage with only 6,000 contracts, but it's only $1,300. I mean, I am positive right now a little bit. What is that? Only 1%. That's only 11 XRP. Not much. It's in the green at the moment. Here's my entry, but look where my liquidation is. This is not my stop loss. That's my liquidation. So if it drops down there, I will lose $1,342. Willing to take that risk in case it does this. Because if it does this and pumps up to here, even without me adding any more money to this trade, and it just gets back up to this level at $3.44, that's a 65% move to the upside. It's $1,342 on that little trade times 65%. $872 times 5x leverage. That's a $4,300 pump to the upside of free XRP for me, because that's XRP I would be earning. And so let's just do the math. Take the $4,361 with XRP and divide it by that price of $3.40. I would have 1,282 more XRP. And then if it eventually gets up to, $10, $20, $30, then that turns into tens of thousands of dollars just for that extra little bump. That's the kind of way I look at it. I'm not doing it for income. I'm doing it to accumulate more XRP and Bitcoin. But if you are doing it for income, that's okay too, because if that happened, I could close it out, convert it back to US dollars and send it to my bank and pay my bills. You can do it for income. Doesn't matter. Looking forward to the next conspiracy theory. People are loving Bill's conspiracy calls. Great. There's manipulation from the short sellers. Are they fiduciaries? Yes.
If you have time, can you show the Ethereum chart as well? Is that possible?
Yep. Someone said, are you sure the ETFs buy and sell to make gains? I thought it was just buy and hold like gold ETFs. Well, I mean, if that's true, then how do you explain the billions of dollars in selling that they're dumping right now in Bitcoin? Are they selling? They're selling contracts. They're selling Bitcoin. Are they buying Bitcoin, more Bitcoin with that at a lower price? They might be doing that. Ethereum, you said? So Ethereum, interestingly, is also in a downward trending falling channel. And it did hit major support already. A little different than Bitcoin and XRP. We have major resistance going all the way back 2,800 right here, going all the way back for over a year. And then it became support, 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 resistance, 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 support and resistance, 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 support. There have been a few times when it got below that, as you can see. It came back up. So if it does fall below, I would say that the next support level is right at 2171, which is this previous resistance, this previous support, resistance, 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 support, 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 resistance, support, this purple line. And now, so again, it's winding into a potential apex. Let's just draw a line from here to here. I'm going to make it white to match. I'm going to bring this up to here for now. Oops. How's that line? Let me just go tighten it up a little bit. And as you can see, kind of like Bitcoin, it hit the bottom and it's winding, it's having higher lows and it's winding into this downward trending apex. Apex because we got a ceiling and a floor. Channel, downward trending channel, but still kind of an apex. If I tighten this channel up a little bit, it's more like that. Might already be at the top. So this is a breakout, is imminent play as well. I would be looking at this. I'm going to move that back. I don't like that. I think it's up higher, but let's just say, because it really is based on the bottoms. Let's just say that this is it. The only other problem is that we had support here, and when it got back above that, it held the support and then hit a support, and then fell through down to another level. We had support here. We fell through that. Is there going to be another level? Is there going to be another level below that where it comes down and then creates another lower high? But we don't see it yet. Could look like this if we go back far enough and draw an upward trending support line. Yeah. On Ethereum, let's see, am I in an Ethereum trade? I am in a long Ethereum right now. I'm a little bit negative. That's on USDT though, because I'm expecting them all to break to the upside. But that doesn't mean they will, just to be clear, because the reason why it's very possible they break to the downside and it's very possible that we go bearish. It's just that I'm betting on a break to the upside because we still have about 3 weeks left of a bull market. And we do have a potential. We do have a potential of another run up, but and the reason why I'm going to go long is because if it does break to the downside and goes below a certain level, then I will just reverse all those positions and be short. And whatever I lose on those small on that little bet, I'll make back on the bear market. So I'm betting on a continuation of this upward trend until it's no longer upward trending. Same with Bitcoin. If I go back over there and show you, I'm betting on a continuation of the upward trend until it's no longer upward trending. Some people are like, what upward trend? It's coming down. It was 126, now it's 90. The upward trend of the orange line that goes all the way back to the bear market bottom. Because that's what kind of, to me, lets us know that we're still kind of in a bull market, is that if you go and look at gold, Bitcoin against gold, we're in a bear market. But if you look at this upward trending support going all the way back from the bear market bottom, we're still above it. So to me, that's upward trending. Even though we had a big down drop since the high, but every time we had a high and a big drop, we broke to an upside, high, then a drop, and broke to the upside, high, then a drop. Are we going to break to the upside is the question. But this is the floor, upward trending. XRP is a little different. It's really not, but I'm only looking at the most recent time frame all the way till, January of last year. This is kind of a floor. And it looks like a sideways channel, perfectly flat down here and perfectly flat up here. But, depends on where you put the lines. If we're doing upward trending lines like this, then it may look like these are upward trending supports until we broke through and retested underneath, which is bearish. But I'd rather just look at this overall channel, because even when we wicked below it, it popped back up. We get through it, pop back up, wicked into it, pop back up, wick below it, came up very quickly into this channel and did wick down halfway through. But so far, it has not held below this line. If it gets below 175 and holds as resistant, that's a whole nother story. But so far, in the last year and a half, it has not done that. It would have to get below that and start to drop. And then if I even look at a higher time frame, it really looks like this. And I know I've gone over this before, but before it came up to this level, it was down here in another sideways channel. And below that, before that, it was down here in another sideways channel, doing something very similar. So it's going through its phase. It's stair stepping its way up. This is just the most recent one. And so if you go back far enough and you look at the very bottom over here and you draw an upward trending trend line, you can probably see that. Look at that. It's upward trending as well. In fact, I'll show you actually what that looks like on this chart. This one doesn't go back far enough to see the other ones down here either, but you can see that comes over, pops up, comes over. I mean, we could go sideways for a little while here before we even hit that upward trending support line. And so I would guess that probably going to do this. Before breaking out. When you zoom out like this, guys, to the weekly, and look at the big picture, it's not as frightening, because like if everybody's worried about it dropping, how low can it go, all that stuff. But when you see the channel, now we did flip the EMA ribbon on the weekly. And as you can see back here, we flipped it also. Boom. And as soon as it hit this upward trending support, it broke right back above it. And look at the parabolic move. So we are below it right now, but this is getting tightening, getting smaller, and we are hitting support down here. So why not probably flip it again to the upside? Could come all the way over here. Maybe it'll go up and then back down and then finally break out. Maybe not ready yet to get through, but I mean, we only got this is the weekly time frame. We only got 3 more weeks before we're at the end of the year here. So all right, so let's look at market cipher. Let's see what's going on. Market cipher. Well, this is XRP, market cipher. We got a nice wave coming down here and curving. I mean, I would say that a green dot is imminent. I mean, look at this wave crest right here, getting tighter and tighter and tighter, starting to curve around, and look right where it's at, right here, all the way down to the floor. Look right there. That's what usually happens. Look at this. Boom, green dot, big pump to the upside. I mean, look what happened last time. Last time XRP was down this low, guys, on the weekly. Green dot happened right here after hitting this upward trending line, and boom, boom, all the way up to here. That's interesting. Look at the daily. Daily, we got a green dot just now on the daily, just now. And we got some green movement happening right here. And looks like possibly some higher highs, obviously, higher lows rather. So we do have downward trending resistance. This is a real apex here, guys. This is like definitely happening here on, let me change that to a different color so you can see it. We have downward trending resistance, upward trending support, winding into an apex on major support here. So, I mean, we're far away from the upward trending support line, but that doesn't mean we can't break to the upside, come all the way to the top, come all the way back down, come all the way to the top, come all the way back down over the next weeks. We could do all that stuff. And I guess it could even get over here and break to the downside and wick all the way down to here, like it did here. And tap on that orange line, that yellow line, and then pop out. But let's look at it this way also. This is a big falling wedge. This is a giant bull flag. And if this thing does break to the upside, it could be huge when it does finally break out. I would bring this up to about $13 on this upward trending scale here. Maybe 15. I'm very bullish on XRP. I don't really care what these current and recent prices are. In fact, I think it's just shaking out the weak hands. People sell. If it goes up to $5, $10, you watch how many people sell their XRP.
Yeah, I have a friend that has like 10,000 XRP, and she thinks she's saying to sell at 10, which is nuts.
Yep, and a lot of people will. And they will be regretting it when it gets to 100. I mean, imagine if you had Bitcoin at, listen, I had 50 Bitcoin at $300. I sold it at 9,000, thinking I was a genius. But imagine if you had 50 Bitcoin or 1,000 Bitcoin or 10,000 Bitcoin at $3. And when it got to $10, you sold. Profit, yeah. Capital gains, yeah. All kinds of things that I just think that the intelligent money and the smart people are not going to do that. The ones that really want to create wealth, not just a quick buck. I've noticed this, guys, even in real estate. I've been a real estate investor for a long time. I noticed the people who make money are the sellers, are the flippers. They do make money, but the people who get rich are the ones who never sell. Those are the landlords. Those are the ones that hold and rent and refinance and pull the equity out and then reinvest and buy more cash flowing properties. The developers and and then the next level after that is developing, right? But the people who are the richest are the ones who have hundreds of units that they've owned for decades, and they just get tons of cash flow and the properties appreciate in value over time. I used to wholesale houses. And I would get a house under contract. I was good at it too. I would make ridiculous offers. I'd get houses under contracts. and I would just assign the contract. I had a couple buyers locally here, and I would assign the contract for 10, 15, 20 grand, and I would just walk away. I wouldn't have to rehab it. I wouldn't have to do anything. Make my quick 15, 20 grand. And then a couple years later, I had this guy who always bought from me. He reached out to me. He goes, "You got any more deals? You got any more, got anything cooking?" I said, "Not right now. The market's kind of weird. How you doing? How'd you do flipping those houses? Did you make a lot of money?" Because I thought he was fixing them up and then selling them for a profit. I just didn't want to do that because he put like 50, 80, 100 grand. He would buy it from me, pay my commission, everything. He would buy the house for 150 grand, pay me my 20 for wholesaling it. He'd have 170 into it. He's put another 50 into it, turn around and put up for sale for 250, 300. That's what I thought he was doing, but he wasn't. What he was doing is buying it from me, putting 50 into it, fixing it up, putting a tenant in there, and then refinancing it, pulling all of his money back out, and then buying another one. And years later, I found out he had like 65 houses worth millions. And I didn't have any. All I had was my little quick 15 grand every month, which I spent living. So he was getting super rich, and I was like, what the hell? I'm in the wrong business. So I learned from that. Don't get me wrong, it's good income, but you gotta, it's transactional. As soon as you do it once, you gotta do it again. As soon as you finish one, you gotta do it again because you don't have anything that you're building. And so if you don't hold on to assets, guys, you buy assets not to sell. You buy for long-term gain. Now, hedge funds sell, they take profit, but they're in a different business model. They're moving billions of dollars around all the time to get into the next project. But I see a lot of people watching podcasts with billionaires being interviewed, and the billionaires, well, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I meditate and I read journal and I journal and I take a long walk, and then I sit at the top of the mountain, or I go in the sauna, and everybody thinks they want to, oh yeah, this is what you got to do to be successful. No, that's not what they did to become a billionaire. That's what they're doing now as a billionaire. Don't listen to billionaires until you're a billionaire. They work their ass off 24/7. There's no such thing as balance on the way up. Everybody, oh, I want a balanced lifestyle. I'd like to spend this much time doing this much time. Okay, well, good luck. You're not going to ever get super rich. You need to focus on one thing like a freaking lunatic sometimes. And
I had this argument with my girlfriend this morning. She doesn't understand. You're dedicated. When you're trying to learn something new and really get there, you're on it. Of course, I was built to do that. Not everybody's built for it, I guess.
Yeah. And there's no problem if you're not built for it. It is not for everybody. But that's why there's a 1%. That's why there's the 1%, because the 99% just not willing to do what the 1% are willing to do. And we can look at 1%ers or rich people. It doesn't matter what. Some of them maybe got lucky. Some of them inherited. I would say there's a little bit of luck in everything, but when you see the result of somebody's process, you don't see the process. You just see the result. And we tend to envy that result. We want that house. We want that car. We want that lifestyle. But what did that person go through over the last decade to get that? If you really saw it, you'd probably be like, holy shit, like no one's talking about the process, because the process is not exciting. You can't sell a process. No one wants to buy a process. They want results. And, so and that's why even on our webinars, we let everybody know this is like learning a new language. It's not necessarily easy, but if you just get it down, the basics, you can definitely change your life. And so I think I'm preaching to the choir. I think most of you understand that, but at the same time, it's human nature to want instant results and want to get rich quick. But, and when I say quick, guys, I mean 5 years. Most people who are multimillionaires did it over a short period of time, generally speaking, quickly in comparison. But, if you can focus 5 years of your life on something, you can become very rich. And some of you are going to do it quicker than others. I mean, we have people in this group that became a millionaire in their first year, but for the most part, maybe it does take you 3 or 4 years. I don't know. But is that bad? I don't think so. When I find something that I know works, I try to master it, and I just expect to do it forever. Let me see. Let me go over a couple other things real quick, guys. By the way, we do have our in-house tax strategist. We do have someone in this group who is a crypto tax CPA. she's going to have a call Wednesday at 8 p.m. So we'll post the link for that. She's going to go live 8 p.m. on Wednesday. I believe it's 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'll make sure. 8 p.m. Eastern time, yeah, to cover crypto taxes. It's added to the school area as well. So it's in the, she does have a video in the school year, but she's going to go live on Wednesday. So you guys can catch that. Michelle says US or Canadian. We're in the US here. So most everything we talk about is US, and it is a big difference. But you can learn a lot on it, and you can ask her. I'm sure she will go over what choices or options you have for your situation. No offense to Canadians, guys, but we don't focus on Canadian taxes because we don't live in Canada. But if I was in Canada, I know we do have a lot of Canadians, so I'm going to try to bring people in who can speak to that. But for the most part, because we're in the US, we don't generally worry about taxes in other countries that we don't have to comply with. But because there's a lot of members that do, we will try to find someone who can address that for you, and someone who really understands the ins and outs of it so that you're not wondering. Another thing I wanted to bring up. Let's talk about the nodes for a minute, because I know there was a lot of questions on that. Not everybody in this group is interested or taking advantage of that, so I don't want to spend too much time on the nodes. But let me just share my screen here. So the nodes. If you're not aware, I did a call. You can find it in the Facebook group. But if you're in the Discord, you go to the ICO channel, scroll up, or I think you go to the pinned messages up here. Pinned messages. Here's some articles about it. Here's a lot of different articles. And here's the call that we did, the Zoom call we did a couple Wednesdays ago, where I brought a node expert on to talk about an opportunity with Optio token. Here's the instructions if you want to buy some. There was a buy one, get one free offer, and it was good up until like maybe a week to 10 days. It seems to still be working. People are telling me that they did it just yesterday and they still got the buy one, get one free. So as long as it works, it works. But this, I would say, do not invest in this and do not do this until you watch this video and then get questions answered. Do your own due diligence. Go and read all these articles up here about it. This is not for everyone. This is high risk. There is risk involved. And basically what it is, it's mining tokens for a potential new token launch that could make it to the exchanges. Now, if you did buy into it already, let's go and look at. One second. Uno momento, por favor. I was on the wrong screen. If you have any questions or concerns with it, or something's not working right or whatever, you can let me know and I can see if I can try to resolve it for you. Eloy says, just waiting for Kaivo to show up. Let me just show you something. So once you have your nodes, they're going to show up on Simple, which is the server. When you log in, it should say active. If it says pending over here or inactive, that means you just bought them and they're showing on the server, but they're showing inactive. Give it 24 to 48 hours and they will turn active. What it's doing is it's searching for your licenses that you purchased on the network and then turning them on. Then once these go active, guys, it does take a couple more days for them to show up in your Kaivo wallet. So let me go over there and log in. I am on my computer. You do this on your app on your phone too, but if you do it on your PC or your desktop or your laptop, it's going to look like this. And mine have been active for a while and it still says 0 up here. So what's going on? Well, you go to assets, and then you go to distribution, and it's showing. Then I click view more, and my distribution has been distributing them since the 1st. but they're still pending. Why? That could take up to a week, he said. So we are now at the end of the first was 7 days ago. So today, maybe this day right here will stop being pending and go active. But and then another day will show pending. Then the next day, this day will go active. Then the next day, this way will go out. But there will still be 7 days pending. So guys, just remember that there will always be pending when it goes from when it gets over to your Kaivo. And after a few days or so, that goes active. When it goes active, it's going to show up in your assets up here. Your balance will change up here. And that's when you can stake. If you want to stake. You don't have to. You can just let it accumulate. You can also transfer it out if you want to sell it. You can transfer it out to Mexi or Coinstar or wherever the other one is. There's some other platforms that you can buy and sell on. And eventually you will be able to do it here, from what I understand. But this is a hot wallet is all it is. You can send and receive.
Nico, do you know why the rewards are slowly decreasing each day?
Let me go into my distribution. I can only guess that it's because of the amount of new nodes coming online. There's only so many that will be sold, and the price will go up, I believe, on just January 1st to I can't remember what it was, 2,500 or something, 1,500. I can't remember. It does go up. The price does go up for the nodes. So that I can't give you an exact answer for that, but from what I remember with Element, it does just decrease over time, but slowly, but not to a certain amount, and then it stops. But I can't remember what it is, what the reason is. But if you stake, you also get an extra 20% on top of that, which does make a big difference. So that would be an extra that would be an extra 500 tokens per day. So how is this going to benefit? A lot of people are like, well, how do you make money? What's the point of this? So let's just say that these continue to give rewards at $2,400 tokens per day. And let's just say for 1 year, 365 days. That would be 867,000 tokens at the end of 12 months. All right, well, what's the current price? Current price, so let's go to the home button, our assets. Current price of Optio right now is 0.006. Went up a little bit. When I first bought, it's up 24%. When I first bought the token, it was zero, it was down here at 0. It was lower than that. It was like 0.048, something like that. So it's actually gone up a little bit. 0.006. Okay, that's not much. Let's just do the math. Let's just do some math. Remember, 876,000 for a year, but at 2,400 a day times 0.006, I'm minting $14 a day. Okay, that's not a lot, right? That's not, it's going to take a long time for that to get you rich, especially if I spent $10,000 on nodes times 365. If all it did was stay at this price, that would be $5,256 in 12 months times 2. That would, whoops. Let me go back to what I was doing. 0.006 times 2,400 equals $14 a day times 365 days. If it stayed the same, that would be $5,256 worth in 12 months times 2. That would be break even, my money back by the end of year 2. Now, anybody know in real estate what a good return on investment is? I mean, would you be happy to get all your money back that you invested within 2 years? If everything was gravy after that? That's usually good, by the way. Yes. So the answer is yes. That is a 50% year over year return on your money if it stayed the same. Now imagine if this price goes up, because that's the goal. The more people that buy nodes, the more this gets out there, the more they get, the more people start to buy it on the open market. the supply goes down, the price goes up over time. So let's say that during the court, let's just if it stays the same at 0.006, let's just say it goes up to a penny. It's not long from now, right? So let's just do the math again. You got 2,400 tokens a day. That's if you have 20 nodes, buy one, get one free at 10. So 2,400 tokens a day times 365 days, that's 876,000 tokens in a year. And it gets to 1 penny, 0.01. Okay, now you got $8,000. So you pretty much almost made your money back in the first year. But every day you got 2,400 minting times 0.01. So it's $24 a day. It still doesn't seem like much. Times 365, you're minting $8,000 a year, year over year as the price continues to go up. So what's the goal? The goal is once it launches on a major exchange, on a centralized exchange like Coinbase or Crypto.com, which they are in the works to do, then you're talking about millions more people seen as a new token. What do people do when they see a new token come on an exchange? You see the new tokens being advertised on the top of Phemex, people go and trade it, people go buy it, they go long, they go short, whatever. So the more money piles in, let's say it gets to 27 cents or $2.76. Why would it do that? Let's just go back. Let's go back to home and look at all these. Let's look at the watch list. Let's just look at all these different cryptos. DAI is 99 cents. Okay, B, shit, that's $111 per token. Does anybody know what that is? Grow is 10 cents. BitGet, $3.54. Toncoin, $1.62. So let's just look at one of these. Let's just look at $1.60. Maker, I don't know what that is. $1.25. Let's just take any one of those. $1.25. Let's just look at it. So you've been accumulating tokens all year long. For me, I'm basing it on my own. That's 2,400 a day times 365, 800,000 tokens times $1.25. This thing gets to. Now I got $1 million worth of tokens. So it is a long-term play. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but it can go from 0.005 to 0.05. It can go to 5 cents pretty quick. That's a 10x. Then it can go from 5 cents to a penny pretty quick. That's a 2x. It can go from a penny to 10 cents. That's a 10x. I mean, when you start stacking up these X's and you have a money printing machine minting you tokens day in and day out, every day while you sleep, that's the key here. So let's say it took 2 years, 3 years. Let's say it took 3 years. 2,400 tokens a day. Let's say it goes down to 1,000. Whoops. But let's say over 3 years, 365, 800 times 3. Let's take 600,000 tokens off of that in case they're producing less over time. Minus 600,000. I don't think that's going to be the case, but let's say you got 2 million tokens in 3 years and this thing hits 14 cents. Only 14 cents. Okay. Not bad. I invested 10,000. I don't know anything else really that you can sit there and do nothing where you can get a return like that. But that's all a bunch of ifs, guys, because what if it goes down and drops down to 0.001? Well, then it's going to take longer for it to accumulate into your investment back. But I don't perceive that happening because whenever you can get the way to make big money in crypto, guys, if you wait for something to come on a major exchange like Crypto.com and it's $2.40, it's still low. The price is still low, but you could have bought it on the off market, which is what we're doing here. You buy it on the other exchanges before it goes public, before it goes on major exchanges for 20 cents. That's a 10x difference. But in this case, it's 0.006 cents. Everything you see on Crypto.com that is $5, $10, $100, $20, $200, $300, everything you see on there that's up there used to be 0.003 cents before it made it on the exchanges. So what you're doing when you do this is you're getting in before everyone else. That's called an ICO. It's an initial coin offering. they don't even like to use those terms anymore because it has a bad connotation because of all the scams out there that are pumping out new tokens all the time. But when you have $1 billion company or billionaires behind it, and it's already on exchanges, as you can see, it's on exchanges already, just not major centralized exchanges yet, then there's more of a chance of it to make it to mainstream. So I would say once we get onto a centralized exchange, could see $1 or more, but I've just told you what the minimum is that I think it can do. Well, let's look at what the potential is. What if this thing gets to $27, something like that, which is not even that big in the crypto world? I mean, I'm trading coins right now that are, you know, Solana's a couple $100 right now. I know Solana's big and it's been around for a while, but I mean, we're talking about BNB went all the way up to $1,000 this year, but let's just say 27 bucks, 2,400 a day times 365 days in a year times times 27. Talking big money now, big money. And by the way, that's every year. You sell all that and take the profit, boom, you're back down to zero. The very next day, 2,400 tokens times $24. You're making 50 per day.
I know there's a lot of fake news articles out there, but Googling Optio community, there was an article out there that says Optio community exposed this $1,000 node Ponzi push by Matt Ward and Nick Sorensen.
Yeah, we've already seen that video.
What is that?
That's a guy who makes his living doing videos trying to talk down on anything that's a money-making opportunity. So I personally don't put any weight into those things. And the two guys that he's talking about are just ambassadors who are promoting Optio and the opportunity for nodes. I mean, first of all, every node that is out there, every company out there that offers nodes, and there's hundreds of them, and some of them got very big, including Gala. These are the people that are behind these types of token launches. Gala token. Let's just go to CoinMarketCap. There's billionaires behind this token, by the way. Go to CoinMarketCap and just look at Gala, for instance. Gala, the gentleman that brought us Optio, made $11 million on Gala. Let's go look at Gala. And he bought 10 nodes. Okay, Gala is only 7 cents, 0.7, what is it? 0.0007. Okay, now let's go to the all-time. This is where we are right here. When Gala made it to the centralized exchanges, it went up to what was the price here? 64 cents. And Billy had 11 nodes or something like that, 9 nodes, I can't remember, that he bought for $1,000 each. And when Gala pumped up to 67 cents, he made like 10 or $11 million. So now, obviously, look, Gala has come down since then. So there is a time now. No one. This is from here to here. No one can predict what's going to happen after. But as long as there is utility behind it, I don't know what Gala even did at the time. Why is what Gala affect Gala's future price? What are people saying? What is the latest news on Gala? What is Gala? I don't even remember what Gala did, but it's a Web3 entertainment ecosystem powered by its proprietary blockchain, Gala chain designed to empower creators, blah, 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 ecosystem token, Gala chain. Well, this token was a node being offered just like this one. And Gala is, I believe, on Coinbase and crypto.com and everywhere now. It's a centralized exchange token. and you can
So
buy
if
it.
I understand correctly, though, you have to sell your node at the top like that to make the money, correct? You
No,
can't
not
just-
the node, just the rewards. The rewards that which is Optio token. The nodes are minting tokens. So
Okay.
you sell your tokens, let's just say, and you can convert them over to USDT or something like that. Let's just say, and you sell that. Let's just say you sell. The very next day, your nodes are going to mint you another 2,400 tokens, depending on how many you have. You know, every day, as long as you have those nodes, they're minting tokens every day.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
So
Thanks
the
for the
nodes you
clarity on
keep.
that.
Yeah, the nodes is like your money, your node, your Optio minting or printing machine.
Okay.
And the nodes are necessary. And the reason why these companies do this is because they, rather than do a public offering where people can just buy the token and have a pump and dump, they sell nodes, which allows investors to help support the ecosystem and the minting of the tokens. And over time, you know, your investment just keeps minting tokens, but over time, you get rewarded for doing that rather than having to be somewhere at a certain time. We're launching this token live on Uniswap or PancakeSwap. All of a sudden, $1 million pumps in and the price goes up to 50 cents. Everybody dumps it and then it jumps back down. And most people get left holding the bag because they don't understand pump and dumps. So the reason why I like Optio is because of the utility behind it and what it's doing. So if you read those articles that I shared and you learn about it, which I highly recommend people do, don't just buy into these things because we're sharing them. Understand it and actually want to do it. Don't do it because everyone else is doing it. Don't feel FOMO that you're going to miss out on something, because I don't personally know whether it's going to be a big one or not. But I know that the person who's a friend of mine, Billy, who I've known for 25 years now, I've seen him make millions and millions with these notes. And he's brought them to me before and I turn them down because I don't want to share risky things with my group. But when I've seen him win more often than not, did they all work? No, I'm in Element token. I spent $5,000 on Element tokens. I bought two of them. I mean, nodes rather. I bought 2 Element nodes. And let's just look at Element. Right now, if I sold all of my Element tokens, I probably would get my money back, but it's been 2 years, a year and a half. Let me just show you. Go back over here. Let's go to, this is Element right here, and it's on an exchange. It's on the DEX tools. It has not made it to the major exchanges yet, but it's 0.003 cents right now. It's popped up at sometimes to 0.002 cents. It's been 10x higher than where it's at right now. But as you can see,
sharing your screen.
oh shit, sorry. So this is Element token. I bought 2 nodes. They were $2,500 each. I have about 4.5 million tokens right now in the last year and a half. That's what it's minted me. And it's still down here on the floor. We're waiting for it to take off. We're waiting for it to go up. So it is a possibility that this thing takes longer than we expected. But if it would have, like, if I would have sold here, of course, we thought it was getting ready to run up. If I would have sold here at 2 cents or 0.002 cents, rather. What is it right now? Yeah, 0.002 cents. I would have probably doubled my money. And I would still have the nodes minting me tokens. So the goal with these is there is no guarantee that it's going to do what the developers are planning on doing with it. But if it does, then we're talking about big money. I think Billy has 100 or a couple hundred nodes with Oxio. I mean, not Oxio. Optio.
So it is wise to watch it and then transfer your money out of it once in a while to other coins.
If it's profitable, if you're up, yes. I mean, you can do that, but that's like saying, is it wise to sell your XRP now that it's $3? You bought it at 50 cents. It's now $3. Should you sell it? Me personally, I don't believe so. I believe that XRP has a long way to go. But if you're up, you could take your initial principal back off the table, and now you're in it for free. Now you don't have to worry about what happens. Yes, you can do that, Angela.
Okay.
And there is a way to do that here with Optio too. You would have to transfer it to another exchange because you can't sell it on Kaibo yet, but you can transfer it to like MEXC, or MEXC is another platform like Phemex. And it's going to get listed on other platforms that you can sell it on, including Coinbase and crypto.com. But I think that by the time that happens, that the price will be a lot higher. You could also convert it. Yeah. So I think somebody else named another, what is it, Coinstar or Coin something? Anybody know off the top of their head? There's another platform that you can sell it on.
Coinstar.
What is it?
Coinstar.
Coinstar. Coinstar. So let's just go over there and look real quick. Let's go to Coinstar.
Hey Nico, I just bought my notes yesterday and Simple still can't find it. How many days does it take for Simple to locate it?
When did you buy it?
Yesterday.
And it's saying detecting or deploying.
Well, I hit the link to find it and it just say can't find it.
Oh yeah. Give it a couple days.
Okay,
I
thank
did
you.
I did that with mine too. Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 days. So yeah, you go to Coinstar here, you open up an account, and you can buy and sell here. Look, it's even showing right here. Look, opt up 7.79%. So as of right now, since I bought into this and since I bought a node, it's up like 8%. Now, does that mean it's going to keep going up? Not necessarily. I mean, obviously coins go up and down, but it's actually on their ticker symbol here. So that's Coinstar. And there's a lot of platforms like this, guys, that deal with new tokens and, higher risk tokens that allow you to swap them. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the year, let's just say I have accumulated 800,000 tokens because of my 20 nodes. I have 20 nodes. I bought 10. I got 10 free. So let's say at the end of the year, I've accumulated 800,000 tokens, give or take. But let's just say 800,000. And I say, you know what? I don't want to be in this anymore. I'm just going to go sell them. And so I got 800,000 tokens. And let's say the price is only, I don't know, let's say it's not much. Let's say it only went up to, 0.09 cents, like not even a dime, maybe not even that, but let's say it goes to that. 800,000 times 0.09. That's 72 grand. I could certainly get it out. But here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. Even if I did that, even if this happened and I went over here and I sold them for $72,000, I'd still have 20 nodes minting me tokens every day. So the next day I would wake up and I would have 2,400 more tokens times 0.09 cents. So I'd be making 216 bucks a day, even after I cashed out. Not bad. That's 6 grand a month. That's what the nodes do for you. Some people are like, well, why shouldn't I just go over and buy 1 million of these tokens right now? Because they're so cheap. I could buy 1 million tokens right now at 0.006 cents for only $6,000. That's less than 10 nodes, Nico. If I buy 10 nodes, I'll get 10 free. That's 20. I'm only minting 2,400 tokens a day. It's going to take me a year to get to 1 million tokens. I can just go buy 1 million tokens right now for less than $10,000. That is true. And you can, and you should, if you can afford it. Because if this thing does go, and you don't have to wait for your nodes to mint you tokens, you can already have a bunch of them. And this could be the ones you sell. So let's say I did that and I spent 6 grand and then it went to $1. I got 1 million tokens. Now I got $1 million. I could liquidate that $1 million and still have my nodes minting for me. So yeah, you can do both. But if you only did this, and in a year it went to $1 and you got $1 million and you sold it all, okay, great. That's great. That's a great return, but you wouldn't have any nodes minting $2,400 a day for the rest of your life. So that's the difference. So do both if you can, if you want.
Does the price of the node, like if you want to buy this a month from now, is the price of a node going to go up, or is it just going to be unavailable to purchase?
From what I understand, the prices go up, and they're going up in January.
Okay.
A little. I don't know how much, but see, when I first bought, let me just show you. When I first bought Element,
You can buy a Bitcoin node right now, I'm assuming, right? Like if you
can buy
Yeah.
mining. You can buy mining equipment for Bitcoin.
Okay.
It's not a node technically, but so when I first bought Element, it was $2,500 per node. I bought 2. Right now, if I go into the back office to look at my nodes, it's $6,000 per node. So you would have been better off buying just the token directly off the exchange. Hindsight is genius. We're right here in this Optio thing. We're right in the beginning stages, waiting for it to go up. I don't even think that's on here yet, but let me look. I never looked. I don't think that's the same one. Opta, no, it's not. Not the same. Nope, that's not it. So it's not here yet, but it will be. It'll be available on these DeFi platforms. This is Dex tools, but there's also like Uniswap, and I think it is available on Uniswap. Can't remember.
Hey, Nico, thank you so much. It's been resolved. I just sent you a thank you email for my notes. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You got that straightened out?
Yeah, I just why the class is going on. I was just chatting with Optio and Simple. So you actually see it in all the emails. So you see the chain. I've logged in, I've sent the notes, and I want to say thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. So one more thing, you said about buying mining equipment for Bitcoin. Don't you think that is very expensive? Do you think there are companies you could actually subscribe and then maybe pay a little premium and share in the profit of the Bitcoin mining? I'm just thinking. I don't know.
Say that
Did
one
you
more
hear
time.
that?
You think it's
Okay.
smart to buy Bitcoin? Is that what you're asking?
No. You said somebody once asked a question about buying nodes for Bitcoin, and you said no, you don't buy nodes for Bitcoin. You only buy equipment for
Oh, yeah,
mining.
yeah.
So
Well, I
and
mean, you would need a warehouse full of mining equipment to make any real money with Bitcoin.
So
And the
question is,
electricity cost is expensive.
yeah. So the question is, are there companies that you could like pay a premium, like a token, maybe a subscription based, that you could actually pay monthly, or I don't know. Then of course they give you a token, maybe a fraction of whatever they mine. I'm just asking.
Talking about Bitcoin?
Mm-hmm.
You can buy space heaters that mint Bitcoin for your house. You can buy a space heater that literally mints you Bitcoin, but it's fractions and fractions of pennies worth of Bitcoin per day. It'll take a month for you to generate $1 worth, but it's still mining you Bitcoin. If you want so if Bitcoin was pennies or below a penny right now, yeah, you want to mine as much as possible, because if in the future, if it goes up in value, you'd have a lot of it. But Bitcoin's $100,000. When you're mining Bitcoin, like these big mining operations that have like, football field size warehouses full of computers, they have millions invested in that. And yeah, they are minting whole Bitcoins per day. They are at that point, but they've got millions invested in the equipment. The regular person doesn't have the capacity to do that right now. Not to mention your electric bill would be more than your minting unless you do this right. You have to have like agreements with power companies. You have to be in cold climate areas. There's all kinds of things that these big miners do to make sure that they lower their expenses as much as humanly possible. So I think the opportunity for mining Bitcoin and like Ethereum and things like that is kind of gone. Chad had a mining operation with Bitcoin, with Ethereum when I first met him. He was making several thousands of dollars a week mining Ethereum, but that opportunity went away and he ended up selling his mining operation. So because of the halving and the split, not the halving, but the fork and the hard fork and all this stuff, a lot of weird things happened, which made it obsolete for miners to profit. But nodes, on the other hand, is where you can mint tokens that have the potential to go way up, and they're still way below a penny. They're a fraction of a penny right now. And
okay.
So it does look like you can buy Optio on Uniswap as well, for those of you, but you need Ethereum to do it.
Hey, Nico.
Yes. By the way, guys, before answering my questions, it's 1:58, which means in 2 minutes, Bill is starting his onboarding call. So if you're brand new to the Crypto Renegades, you want to get on Bill's onboarding. He just posted the link in the Zoom chat and also in the Discord group, under the under the main chat, and also in the announcements section. So make sure you just hop over there. You don't need to stay on this call any longer. Make sure you get on onboarding. It's very important if you're brand new. And you'll always have the opportunity to get on these calls and learn about all this stuff. You don't need to get ahead of yourself. So get on onboarding. And I just wanted to make that announcement first before the clock, because some people stay on here and forget that the onboarding started. All right, go ahead. Who's talking?
Oh, I just wanted to mention I was able to buy Optio on that coin store website with Tether.
Oh, okay, good. That would be the easiest way to go. I don't like using Ethereum to buy anything. It's a pain in the neck. The gas fees are high.
Right.
So
It's just
CoinStore, guys,
ERC20.
that's a good option for you. If you got some extra cash, and let's say you couldn't buy 10 nodes, guys, you can only buy 1 or 2. Okay, well, buy the difference that 10 nodes would have produced for you over the course of a year all at once right now. You can go do that on CoinStore for a fraction of the current price of the future price. You don't even know what the future price is going to be, but for at 0.006 cents, you could buy 1 million tokens right now for $6,000.
You think that's a better option than buying just 1 or 2 nodes?
No, not necessarily. I think you should have the nodes. I think you should buy. I think you should both. Is what I'm saying. Like if you can do both, but it would be an option for you if all you can do is buy 1 node. In other words, you can't get the buy 1 get 1 free because you can't buy 10 or more. Then maybe buy 1 node and then go buy a few thousand, or a few 100,000 of those tokens as well for a fraction, like another 1,000. Instead of buying 2 nodes, buy 1 node and $1,000 worth of those tokens,
I understand.
and that'll put you way ahead of the game.
Okay, thank you.
Did you say coin store?
CoinStore.
Okay, correct. Let me just take the coin
Yes.
store.
I'll put the link right here.
Okay, all right. Nico, can you put the link in Discord so that I could do that when I get home?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Right now.
Then transfer the coins from the coin store to your Kaivo wallet and stake them.
Ah, good idea. And then when you want to sell them, guys, in the future, you just transfer them back to CoinStore. Can you sell them? You can sell them right on CoinStore, right? You can convert them back to USDT.
Just FYI, I read that it's going to take 21 days to unstake coins. So just giving you a heads up.
Good. Thanks for that. What is staking, guys? Staking is you're basically loaning your coins back to the system. They're for liquidity, and you're getting a return on your investment, on your staking. But some places like Coinbase, for instance, Coinbase will let you stake Ethereum and Bitcoin and things like that, or Ethereum mainly, maybe some USDT, and you can unstake it pretty quickly because they're a big operation. But if you're staking yourself, he just said it takes 21 days. So just keep that in mind. If you need money quickly, you're gonna have to wait 3 weeks for it to unstake.
I think Coinbase still takes 14 days to unstake.
Oh, it does? Okay. So you're getting there's a benefit obviously for staking, but it's also can take a little while to unstake. So don't do it if you need to be liquid. Okay, I'm going to put this in the announcements. No, I'm going to put this in the official links section. There it is.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I'm not sure exactly, Brian. They were working on it when they're going live, when it's going on major exchanges, but I think it's all like in the works right now. I know, Masto. I'm sorry about that. I mean, it was an incentive to buy more, I guess. That's how they get you to invest more, but nothing I can do about it. By the way, guys, there's been several node opportunities that Billy has texted me about that I just ignored. Like, I mean, I was interested, but I was like, I don't know if I want to, stake that long. I can make more money trading. He doesn't like to trade. He doesn't want to work. He just wants to buy and wait. He doesn't even buy crypto anymore. He used to have a lot of Bitcoin, but he doesn't even do any of that anymore because he made so much money with the nodes. So I'm not saying that we're all going to get rich on these nodes. I'm just saying that I've seen people get rich on these nodes. and I know them personally. So it's not just hearsay. It's so it, and he's so excited about this one that, and I know how many he showed me. He's got like over 100 of them nodes. So he spent 100,000 of his own money. Now, yeah, he probably does get some referral bonuses and all that shit for being an ambassador, but I don't really care about that. He's the one doing all the work, introducing it to people. Doesn't come out of my pocket. The node isn't costing more. So with all that being said, guys, it's a little bit after 2. If you're brand new, make sure you get on the onboarding call with Bill. He just started that, and the link is in the chat here. Somebody else says I can afford one node of now better than nothing. Yeah, exactly. Buy a node, and then even when you get an extra couple $100, go buy a bunch of Optio tokens just in case that thing shoots to the moon. It could. You can go to 20 cents quickly. From where it's at right now, that's like 100x. You buy $1,000 worth and that thing goes 100x. You just made a quick 100K.
Hey, Nico.
Yes.
Earlier, you were showing when you were going over the charts, you were in like XRP, but it was in USD instead of USDT. And I'm noticing just such a difference between the graphs, between the two, USD and USDT. Can you explain why there's such a difference in the graphs?
Yeah, it's actually XRP USD. It's an XRP margin. So I'm actually trading in XRP. I'm trading on the coin, not in actual dollars. So
okay, I see now. I understand. I get you.
Yeah. So when you have USDT, which is this one, if I click on this, I'm on Coin M. But if you do it on USDT M and go to XRP, the price and the chart looks slightly different. It's almost the same, but not quite, because there's different price fluctuations with the coin as opposed to USDT. Now, USDT is a stable coin and it's pegged to the US dollar, but it still fluctuates from 99 cents to $1.01 to 99 cents to $1.01 to 98.999 cents to 99 cents to $1 to $1.05 to $1, not $1.05 to $1.00005 back down to 99 cents. It's never $1. It's never just exactly $1. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but
I think there's also more volume on the tether market as opposed to the coin.
Yes, there is.
There's that'll change the graph.
Yeah. Not a bad thing. It's just the slight differences. Some people have noticed that my entries are slightly different, or my chart looks slightly different but if you go and click on Coin M over here, guys, you click on this up here and you click on Coin M, and it's going to show you all the coins here that you can trade on a coin margin. There's only so many of them, right? There's only so many coins you can trade on a coin margin. XRP is just one of them. Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Ethereum, SUI, ADA, which is Cardano, Link, and AVAX. Those are the only ones you can trade on a coin margin. And I pretty much stick to Bitcoin and XRP, and every once in a while Ethereum, because I'm only trying to accumulate these. The other ones I'm trading for money. I'm trading for US dollars, but when I'm trying to accumulate something, these are the two I want to accumulate. You know, in 10 years from now, I believe that XRP's utility is going to be huge. It could be 4 digits or more, maybe even 5 digits. Bitcoin is already 5 digits. Bitcoin is $90,000. Anything over $10,000 is considered 5 digits. Once we go over 100,000, it's 6 digits. That's 6 figures, right? But XRP could certainly get to 5 digits someday too. But look at the price difference. It's the upside for XRP is much greater than Bitcoin. Bitcoin could 5x from where it's at right now, and it will, I'm sure, over time. I'm sure it will. So $90,000 times 5, that's 450,000. That's a 5x. But how many Bitcoin can you buy right now at $90,000? Even if you could afford one, you would only make 5 times your $90,000. You'd make 450 grand. That's great. But XRP could 100x in the same time that Bitcoin 5x's, and you can buy at $2 right now. So if XRP does 100x at $2 times 100, that's $200 for XRP. You could buy 10,000 XRP for 20 grand right now, 10,000. And if it 100x's, that's $1 million. So you made twice as much money with XRP than you would with Bitcoin. Now, if you would have bought Bitcoin back when Bitcoin was $2, that's a different story. But right now, Bitcoin is 90,000. So unless you got really deep pockets, it's going to be hard to get rich with Bitcoin. Now, however, you could buy one Bitcoin and Bitcoin could eventually hit $30 million in the year 2040. And you will technically be rich. But what will inflation be like? What will